Fun video, I hope. Or I'm going to be making a fun video today. I have a lot of books that I've read this year. Well, this past month is what I'm doing. I'm going to do a video on all of the books that I've read in this past month and all the books I bought. I wasn't planning on doing this until like the later half of the month, so I've got like a lot of books that either I've already returned or I just can't even remember if I read them this month or last month or whatever. So they're not going to be quite all, but I'm hoping to do this like once a month. So I have some books that just came in today, and I have some books I've been reading and books that I bought earlier in the month that I'm going to show you guys and give reviews on a few of them. So this time when I ordered books, I got a lot of older like series that were written for like teen girls, or preteen and teen girls. I've been so busy lately and I haven't had the brain capacity, I guess, to really read like heavier books. So I've just been reading a lot of shorter books that are easy to read and you don't have to think too much about. Because I find whenever I've got so many things going on, it's hard for me to focus on books that aren't as easy to read. So these ones are like books that are very interesting, they have a good storyline and everything, but they're not like really philosophical, deeper, knowledgeable books, I guess. That makes them sound like they're really worthless, but they're not. They're really good stories, and I enjoy reading them for when I don't have time to dive into something deep. So a lot of these books are from the 1940s. Oh, these are such pretty colors. So that's another thing I like about old books. This one's upside down. I love sorry, I'm getting distracted. I like the colors of the older books. Like I have two like jade green, darker green books. There's a light blue and a dark blue here. And the first book is Sparky Ames and Mary Mason of the Fairy Command. This is a new book for me. Oh, this is so pretty. I love these old illustrations. I think it's from the 40s. This one is copyright 1943. It's a really pretty green book. It's pretty good condition. I don't see any damage other than the pages are yellowed, of course, but I'm excited to read this one. The next book is the spine's a little bit harder to read. This is The Girls of Central High Aiding the Red Cross. This one, I think that this one's a little bit older. Yeah, this one's from 1919, this book, and I'm excited about that one. Then I have Norma Kent of the Wax, and This one's got some cool drawings in it too. This one is also from 1943. The early 1940s, like the first 5 years, were full of books that would help. They wrote a lot of books that would help raise interest in the war effort. So a lot of books about the WACs, about the Navy, nurses, anything to do with something that would help with the war. So I really like reading those books. I think they're really interesting, and sometimes they're just stories, but usually they tell actually a lot about the job itself because they wanted people to be interested and to join. Next book I have is a Grace Livingston Hill book. This one is More Than Conquer, and I don't think I've read this one yet. I've read a lot of them, but I don't think I've read this one. And this one's 1944, so kind of the same time period. This one is another book in the Trixie Belden series. I'm working on collecting them all, and I now have books 1 through 9, I think. And this is book 6, Mystery in Arizona. I've got a stack of these. This one smells like perfume. This one is a little bit in rougher condition. This is Sally Scott of the Waves. I think this is 44 as well. Aw, this one is written and it says, Merry Christmas to Lois from Lorraine and Dan. This one is 1943, so most of these books are from 1943 that I got so far, at least. This is a book that I have, it's been a few years, I had kind of forgotten that there was this book, and I had wanted to get it, but I never had. This is Pollyanna the Glad Book, and this is, oh wow, there's a lot of Pollyanna books. I just realized from the back. I thought there was only like 3 or 4. This lists a whole list of them. Pollyanna at Six Star Ranch, Pollyanna Grows Up, Pollyanna of the Orange Blossoms, Pollyanna's Jewels, Pollyanna's Debt of Honor, Pollyanna's Western Adventure, Pollyanna in Hollywood, Pollyanna's Castle in Mexico, Pollyanna's Door to Happiness, Pollyanna's Golden Horseshoe, Pollyanna's Protege. This is the Glad Book. This is Grosset and Dunlap publishers, and they typically have really nice books. This one, it looks like it was originally published in the early 1910s. So it says copyright 1912, 1913. And then it says copyright 1946. So I think that's when the year this one was published. Then I have 2 more books in the Cherry Ames series. I'm a little bit disappointed. I thought these were the older covers. It sounded like it. They said in the description on Thrift Books the year that they were published in, which usually means the year the book was published in, but it also can mean just the original publishing date. And since these had the older covers, these are just reprints. Since they had the older covers though on the picture, I thought that they were older, but oh well. I'll just have to collect this later. Yeah, this is another reprint. It's printed about the same time as the Trixie Belden, because this is 2006. These are books 3 and 4 in the Cherry Ames series. I have book 1 and I have book 2. It should be coming in the mail, but I wish that book 2 was in the mail already, because that Cherry Ames book was a really good book, and I'm ready to get on to the next in the series. So that's all for the books that I just bought, and now for books that I've read this year. So the first book is Good Morning Young Lady. I picked this up at a thrift store for like 25 cents, and I thought it was going to be like a devotional book or like a housekeeping book, but it wasn't. It's actually a story, and this story was really good. It took me a little bit to get into it, but then I found it really interesting, and it kind of follows the girl from when she's like really young to like, I don't know, maybe in her mid-20s, and I really like the story. It's a very good story, well written, and this is written by Ardith, I'm not sure, Ardyth Kennelly, and this one was published in 1953. Next one is a series that like I said, I've been reading a lot of series lately, like girl series. This one is The Mystery of the Opal Ring by Anne Emery. This one was pretty good. It wasn't like extremely complicated story, and it was pretty light, but it was still an interesting read, and I liked that one. Next book is a book that I picked up, and I thought it was going to be from like the 60s just from the cover, but I was surprised. This is actually a copy from the 40s. This is a Rick Brant electronic adventure. The name of this book is Seagold, and it's written by John Blaine, and I love the map inside. It has a map for the story, and this one is 1947. I don't know why, I have a lot of books from 1947. There's a lot of copies from then, and also books that were originally published then. I don't know why, I just seem to pick them up a lot. And this one's just like a pretty typical boys mystery series, and it's a little bit predictable if you've read a lot of boys series from the 1940s, but it's still really good, and I have a lot of these now saved to my wish list because I want to get the whole series. This next one was definitely not what I expected. This is another one I got from the thrift store for like 25 cents. This one is Mistress Masham's Repose by T.H. White, and I don't know why. I kind of expected it to be more like an adult novel. I don't know why. If I would have looked closer at the cover, I would have seen it's a little girl holding a small barrel with a little guy in it. Totally not what I expected. But this is like a story inspired by Gulliver's Travels, which I don't like that book, but I do like some of the books that were inspired by it. So it's definitely a kid's story, but I think it's interesting, and I like reading kids' stories sometimes. So this one was fun. I don't think I'm going to specifically look for his books. I think if I see them at a thrift store or something, I might pick them up, but they're not something I want to collect all of them. This is the Cherry Ames book, the very first in the series, Cherry Ames Student Nurse by Helen Wells, and this copy is from 1943, like a lot of my books. And this book was really, really good. I like books like this that are light and easy to read, but they're very interesting and they keep you interested. And this book I read in like 2 sittings because I kind of sit and read it the whole time, but it only took like 2 sittings to get this done. And I loved it and was ready for the next one immediately. And I went to Thrift Books and bought the next 3 books in the series. And I would have bought more, but they were out of stock for books 5 and 6, and I knew if I had books 7 and 8, then I would read those if my other ones didn't come soon. And I'm glad I didn't order the book 7 and 8 because they still, I don't think, are in stock on Thrift Books. This one is a really good book. I highly recommend. Next book, this is probably one of my favorite books, if not my absolute favorite book I have read in the month of November, or maybe even this year. This one is a really good book. It's not at all what I expected. Again, sometimes you don't really know what to expect with these books. Sometimes they're pretty predictable, but by the cover, but not this one. This is a very nice size of book too. I like books that are this size, and the nice thing is most books from like the 1940s and 50s, like it seems like we have taller books now, but a lot of these books, if you look, are very, very close to the same size. These two are like the exact same size height, and this one's a little bit taller, but for the most part they're very close to the same size, and I just really like that size. I find it the perfect size. This is the book The Cutters by Bess Streeter Aldrich, and it's written on, I always love when people sign their books. I'm not sure what the first name is. It's M-Y-N-T, I think. Stevens Taylor, 1927. And then in the corner it says The Maze. Hugs and kisses. This copy is from 1926, and it is a really good book. It's one of those books that it doesn't take, like, it makes you think. This is like one of the books that I read that were like deeper. Like, it has a light-hearted story on the surface, but then woven into it is like a lot of really good lessons, and what's the word I'm looking for? lots of good morals in it. And I love books like these because it's one of those I feel like you can read and reread so many times and always gain something from it. I'm not someone that normally rereads books unless it's been several years since I've read them. And even then, there's not very many books I like to reread. But this is definitely one that I want to read every year or two because it's just really good. And I would actually probably even read it now again, even though I just read it in the last month. It's really good. I really like, so it kind of, to give you a bit of an idea on what it's about, it follows the lives of a family, the Cutters. They have the grandma, there's Nell and Ed is the couple, and they have a few kids, and it tells the stories of like the whole family, but mostly through the eyes of Nell, the mom, or of the grandmother. And the grandma is just so sweet. I wish I had her for my grandma because she is just the sweetest. She's very wise and kind. She's kind of a little bit quieter. She's grandma and they love her, but they don't pay her a whole lot of attention. And she's just full of wisdom and kindness, and I love her so much. I fell in love with her. And Nell reminds me of like the kind of next door neighbor that you would go have coffee with and go shopping together, and just a really sweet lady, a little bit vain at times, but just really sweet and a very lovable character. All the characters are lovable, and it had a lot of really good lessons in here too. Don't want to give like a whole lot more about it because I don't want to give anything away, but it's a really good book. Definitely pick it up if you can. I bought this at a thrift store for like 50 cents, I think it was, and it was the same thrift store I got several of these books, like The Mystery of the Opal Ring, Mistress Masham, Good Morning Young Lady, and the Rick Brant was from a book sale. But again, probably my favorite book of this month. Probably should have organized these a little bit better because I'm kind of jumping around now. Okay, back to books I bought this month. I bought books 1 through 9 of the Trixie Belden series because I've read a couple of them when I was younger and I really liked them, but I don't know why I've just never been able to find them at our thrift stores or anywhere around us. So I ended up ordering these off of Thrift Books. I'm going to try to get the whole series. These are just reprints because I couldn't find the older copies. There were some from the 80s, but they were paperback, and paperbacks just fall apart too quickly, and I much prefer hardcover books. So I decided I'll just get these ones instead, especially since some of the younger siblings will probably read them, and I want a good sturdy book. So books 1 through 9 Trixie Belden series, and I'm going to try to collect all of them. So books, these are books I bought pretty recently in the last like week or two, and these are books I bought from an antique store. First, I got Harold Bell Wright's The Shepherd of the Hills. I've read this a few times. I think the first time I read it, I was like 11 maybe. And it's another book you can just reread so many times. It has really good storyline and lots of like side stories that are easy to miss the first time you read it, and then each time you read it, you come away with a new outlook on the story and you notice new things about it. Also has really good lessons into that you hear, and it's based in the Ozarks, so that makes it even more cool. I think this is from 1976. Yeah, this copy is from 1976, but it was originally published in 1907. And I'd love to get a copy from 1907, or from around that time, one of the earlier copies. But this is the one that I keep finding everywhere. It's on Thrift Books a lot, but all the Thrift Book copies I think were like anywhere from like $15 to $20 for a copy, and I did not want to pay that much for it. And this one I got at the antique store for $1, so I was excited about that. I've kind of recently discovered antique stores. I always thought of them as being overpriced and full of things that just aren't in very good shape anymore, but you do find stuff like that, but you also find a lot of stuff that's still really usable and very well priced. So next one I got is The Undertow. This is one of the books that I paid a little bit more for. I was trying to only get books that were $1 or $2 because I find if you buy the more expensive ones, usually not very long afterwards, you find a cheaper one, better quality, whatever. So I'm trying to only get the cheaper ones. This book was $3.95, which is not a bad price at all. I was just trying to get the cheaper books this time. It's called The Undertow by Robert Knowles? I'm not sure. And I wasn't going to get it, but then I was just looking out of curiosity because I'm trying to get books from every single decade of the 1900s, which I now have. And now I'm trying to get one from every year of the 1900s. And I'm also now on the lookout for books from the 1800s, so I can maybe get every decade from then. I'm not so sure on that one. There's not as many books printed from then. But anyway, I opened it up and I saw this poem, which I think is an original poem by the friend who gifted it. And I will put a picture in there so you can read it. Really sweet poem. It's from May 16th. It was written May 16th, 1918, and my birthday is in May. Not on the 16th, but it's in May. And I just loved it. I love the poem. I love the handwritten things. It was a friend giving it to her friend. This copy, that was the other reason why I decided on this one. I didn't have any books from the year, in between the years of 1900 and 1909. I needed that last decade for the 1900s, and this one is from 1906. So I was very excited about this one. The last thing that decided me on it was the inscription in the front by the author, and it says, "To all by life's undertow beset, who are yet bravely struggling on and already tasting the victory of the shore." And I was looking, and they have little bits of poetry scattered throughout the book, and it's a story, so I'm very excited about that one. It completely sold me. I love it. I also don't have very many brown copies of books. I have like beige and green, red and blue. Not very many brown books. Next book is a collection of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's stories. This one is all of his stories of Sherlock Holmes. It says Conan Doyle's best books, volume 1. These are the stories of Sherlock Holmes. I didn't have a copy. I had one copy, I think, from the 2000s, but it was like a shorter version. This one was published, I'm actually not sure when this one was published, it doesn't say. All these books are from the same antique store. Next one I got was this picture Bible. I wasn't sure if I should get it or not. It was a free book. I might keep it, I'm not sure. This is from, I think this is a 1954 book, I'm not sure. Had a neat cover and stuff. Has a whole lot of pictures in it. Okay, the next book I got is The Modern Woman's Medical Encyclopedia. This one is, I think, from the 50s or 60s. This one is neat. It had a letter in it that someone had left in here. This one does have a bit of damage. This is 1966. It does have a little bit of damage, but I think it'll be pretty interesting to read. Next book I got is called Jassy by Nora Lofts. This one was, I think, $1. And I'm not really sure what this one's about. I just thought it'd be a fun one to try. I like to get mystery books every once in a while. This is one that's also been on my list for thrift books. I think this one is $2. This is Betty Gordon at Boarding School by Alice B. Emerson. And this one is copyright 1921, so it's 100 years old. This one is called The Hollow of Her Hand by George Barr McCutcheon. I'm not sure. This one's a nice thick book. This one was a Christmas present to someone in the year 1912. Copyright 1912, and it was gifted in 1912 as well. I love seeing how many, because people would write in books a lot of time, they gave them as gifts, and I love how many books were given as birthday and Christmas presents. This book it was from the antique store, and they priced things with sticky notes mostly, and I thought this one said $1, and after I bought it I realized it was actually $10, but I didn't really mind too much because it's a really good book, but I was like, okay, pay better attention to the labels because sometimes things aren't what you think. This one is called Rosalind at Redgate by Meredith Nicholson. The author's name seems familiar, but I can't remember if I've read any of her books yet. This one has a lot of really pretty illustrations in it. It's a really well-made book. And this is from the year 1907. This next one has a really pretty floral design on the cover. And it's like embossed. I'm not sure if that's the right word for it, but it's really pretty. This one is called The Leaven of Love by Clara Louise Burnham. And this one is also a Christmas present in the year 1911. I thought it was kind of neat. It has a picture in it that was accidentally put in upside down. This copy is from 1908. So I think, if I remember right, I have books from that are copyrighted 1906, 7, 8, and I think 9. And I know I have 10. Possibly 11 and 12 as well. So I have several books there all in a row. Next is called That Printer of Udell's by Harold Bell Wright. He's a really good author. I don't think I've read this book yet. This one, the copyright is 1902 and 1903. Well, that is the end of this book haul. I had more books I probably could have brought out, but I don't want to take everything off the shelf. I'm hoping to, next month, keep track better of what books I've read, and maybe I'll be able to bring out all of those. Let me know if this was an interesting video to you. Part of me thinks it'll be really fun, and also part of me is like, no, that's boring. So let me know what you think, and also comment below one of your favorite older books that most people don't know about. I'd love to hear it, and I'll let you know if I've read it. I'm looking forward to reading all of these books, and I'm hoping to do book reviews on them as I read them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!